He's retiring after the midseason brawl. Feels bad, man.
Sad day, man.
Hey, listen, he's on top of the throne. He can walk away when he wants to. I'm the king, is what he said.
It's true. It's true. But here we go to Sky Temple with a Malfurion ban, trying to force out the response of, I guess.
I'd let Tassadar through.
Yeah, I was gonna say Tassadar initially, then I was like, well, if you ban Tassadar here, what is it? First pick Dahaka or Arthas? Arthas is
I would
so
say
much.
Falstead. Before, although they're going to ban Vala to
That's
prevent.
smart.
Okay, it's kind of that thing of like, all right, if we let Tassadar through, they can first pick Tassadar, and then.
The thing about banning Vala is you're saying that you wouldn't go Tass Vala if Tass isn't picked.
That's true.
But it's interesting because, like, obviously that's all they're thinking about right now is like, where does that combo sit? I wonder who else they're thinking about. It's gonna be Tassadar.
Just keep it normal, they say. Keep it normal.
Keep it simple, keep it clean.
Ready for duty.
All right, so with the Zarya pickup, Malfurion being banned, we've already seen a heavy priority on Ariel, but I think one or two of these picks, and while Dahaka didn't necessarily, they didn't win the game with Dahaka last time. I think the Dahaka pickup kept them in the game and allowed them opportunities. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see an early Dahaka. They might be considering Dahaka Falstad or one or the other. It's definitely going to be one of the two. If not, I'd be super surprised right now. I think ETC could be another potential early pickup. But do you want to play around the supports with Malfurion already off the board? Maybe the other team doesn't pick up a support and you can kind of play around that. But Lucio's changed a lot of those strategies.
Honestly, I wouldn't even be too surprised to see an early Lucio here. I mean, Brightwing, every time we see Brightwing forced, you almost have to have, okay, it is the double tank, but
Arthas, the new god.
yeah, he's amazing. He's so strong in this current iteration. But okay, so we've got Zarya, and actually, I feel like it's got to be Rhaegar here, just to have the cleanse versus drag versus Howling Blast.
The cleanses were on point last game
They
too.
were.
There was one up at the top right in a fight. I was like, that's solid, Jake. But
Every cast,
I don't what happened.
nothing. My cat attacks me. That's it. But
Oh, okay. This is where I want to see an early Li Ming pickup. Like, you can deny damage. They thought about banning Vala because they might not be going Vala, and you could pick up Li Ming because you don't have to necessarily worry about anti-mage counters. But they're gonna go Aravaliel.
so
Valiel,
besides this
Ariel,
swap,
Vala.
and we've now seen Important Support go Valariel 3 games in a row. First pick in game
It's
2.
surprising.
Yeah, it's weird. I don't necessarily. I don't think it's bad. I just think it's weird. They're obviously comfortable on the heroes, but
Play the global game, or just take the ETC off the board.
so if ETC is banned here, they're trying to take away. If they take away Noob, they're saying they're trying to threaten maybe as an ability power hero ban. Now, you always like to mention Zarya does quite well against Li Ming. But honestly, with Dahaka and Arthas, I like Gul'dan a lot.
It's not a bad option, I think, at all. I'm trying to think of available options now when we talk about damage or supports. You've picked up Ariel. I think Rhaegar would be a very good ban. I mean, we already know having that extra AoE damage around one of those warriors that's going to be sitting within your team, that lightning shield, is very, very threatening. I know it's like a small amount of damage, but it adds up over time, especially the builds that we've been seeing. But
Chromie.
maybe they thought, well, if they're banning out Anubarak, they might be going into Chromie. What is this world where Chromie is now the new hotness? Last map, it made sense. This one, I'm a little bit more confused.
Well, I think they see the Anubarak ban and they're suspicious of spell damage. I don't know. They're just respecting it after losing to it, right? I think that's pretty common to get in that mindset. Whether or not it's optimal on this map, they're feeling the respect.
They definitely need some type of damage. That I think Li Ming is definitely I don't want to say an obvious choice, but a very likely choice at this point for LFM. When you see a hero like Arthas and Dahaka, you tend to... Okay, Lucio, Li Ming. Vala can poke away at these heroes. Now, we need a solo laner, and we need some a warrior. I feel like Ragnaros would be a really good pickup here against this team in particular. It gives you that solo laner. It gives you good control. It deals with a lot of ability damage that can come at you as well, especially with his level 4 talent. And if you get stunned, dragged, you have level 13 talents to deal with a lot of that stuff. So Ragnaros fits a lot of your needs, I think. Maybe not all of them, but you do have to definitely start looking at a solo laner. Is ETC the other choice here? Is that just the obvious choice?
The only other thing is, like, are they going to try to bust out Tyrael? Like, would Tyrael be enough against this? I personally think having ETC is never a bad thing. You know, you got Sage Dive if you need it. You got Maj if you need it. He's an amazing hero. They're going to go Mura. Mura and Ragnaros.
I like the Ragnaros pickup. Murden, I don't think you can really go wrong with. Zarya, when it comes to the boss fights, you have Expulsion Zone for boss control, so if it comes down to that, you do have that available to you. This last pickup, I think Greymane might be a really good option here if they can play it. If not, again, I don't know how else to put it, but I think Raynor isn't a terrible option when you have Arthas when you make it to 13 and 16.
I mean, yeah, the Executioner argument is definitely sound. Greymane seems like the likely pick. Yeah, especially just to be able to put that pressure on Murid and force him back. Force the Crystal Aegis. Crystal Aegis, you know, their one response, no cleanse either, so... Who else could it be? Gul'dan would be a little bit overcommitment on the spell power, probably. Valeera.
Gang City. I mean, it works well, I think, against Ariel in some regards, but you've got Zarya, Vala. Not necessarily a bad pickup. It's definitely a little bit of one of those... You better get good value out of it, else you're going to suffer. Dahaka has great wave clear. Arthas does well on that. Lucio, Li Ming, depending on how well you play Li Ming, we've seen Valeera at times be a solo laner, so that's not necessarily the issue. But, excuse me, it's an interesting pickup. You have a lot of ground to cover on this battleground when you try and rotate to get those ganks. And, I mean... When it comes to Valeera, it's almost like I would have rather seen a Tyrande paired with that to get follow-up stuns combos. Valeera is one of those high-risk, high-reward heroes, so one of the ultimate X factors.
I'm still not sold on Valeera as a hero overall. I think as a threat versus Ariel, it's kind of nice. But honestly, the Aware is very comfortable on that hero. His detainment strikes are always on point. They don't have the most options to reveal Valera. Mainly it's going to be Zarya, maybe Ignition with the multi-shot. But yeah, it's weird seeing these teams bust out the Valera. Like, I get it.
Ragnaros, Zarya are really hard to take down as Valera.
Oh, yeah.
Ariel is a little bit more susceptible.
It's mostly Ariel, really.
Yeah.
And detainment strike, I got to find her where she's not near a wall, right? Because he's so clutch with those plays. But here we go, Game 3. The winner of this will move on into the finals to face Even in Death.
I love the block pickup, the Rhyme pickup by Arthas at level 1. That'll be really, really good against Valo, so I think that will help out a lot when it comes to the poke and sustain things. But Muradin, Zarya, you gotta wonder, can you secure the big follow-up damage, the big sulfurous smash? If you're coordinated and you're on the same page, it'll show pretty quickly.
Gee, I'm sorry if you hear my cat freaking out.
No. I'll listen harder.
Okay, so quest talents, a trio of them here for the red team imported support. Dahaka's still holding on to the level 1.
I don't know why you would ever hold on to your level as Dahaka. I'm pretty sure he only has one talent that you would ever go with at that level. If it's anything else, I honestly don't know what I would say. I'm looking for a pick. There it is.
Traded and Hecarim do have the body blocks needed to make sure they get that kill. So a nice early kill onto Ragnaros in the bottom lane. First blood, however, they have taken a fair bit of damage at the top, so experience overall is it's fine.
Jake, this isn't team deathmatch, okay? Like, kills can win you the game, but there's not a counter. What is your lifeline in this game is structures, because that's exactly what this map is about. I would trade a kill for an entire fort wall every single day of the week on this game.
Yeah.
On this map especially.
Pancakes, what are you doing? Sorry guys, my cat's being crazy. It's crazy cat hour.
Okay. All right, well, the first temple phase will likely take down the fort in the top just due to that early structure pressure. Yeah, they got the kill, but they're going to lose a fort basically for it. I mean, that to put it into perspective, you gave up a kill at level 1 for a fort. A fort, G.
I mean, they did get some damage done to the bottom, so that second shrine phase, maybe they can, have control there and get a fort themselves with that, but you're right. This is definitely a questionable early game decision to go for that kill and concede so much damage. But honestly, when you're against that early game Zarya Vala pressure, I think it's a foregone conclusion that you're gonna take a lot of structural damage. So maybe they were just cutting their losses and going for it.
They had Dahaka. Could have brush conquered up. All right, well, they find themselves in a little bit of a hole structurally. Experience-wise, they're pretty much on the same page. I mean, I say all that, and all you got to do is win a team fight mid-game, and you can basically make all of it up in the back end. But the rotation now, both teams prioritizing their siege camps. We'll see them both defend here. I'm sure we'll see both teams prioritize their night camps shortly after preparing for the next temple phase.
Yeah, I mean, 7's just about here. Fire Ward has been picked up for Rag at 4, level 7. Ooh, Ragnaros died in the mid. That Valera being chased down now. Ish uses Death Coil already, so needs the stun there from Draded, trying to give him the space. Vault aggressively, but BBJ gets Ish out of there. Wall riding in style.
Speed up your camera scrolling when Lucio's in the game. Like, It's like, wait a minute, they got to keep up with this. I was like watching you like scroll faster.
Icebound Fortitude for Arthas. Skullcracker for the Muradin for more damage. Yeah. Okay, what's Lucy gonna go for?
Both teams prioritizing the night camps, and again, it's normally one that your global is going to win out on. You know, if you had a matching global, or if you had the global on your side, that camp becomes infinitely stronger, especially because you've already opened up that fort, so it won't see as much value. So Dahaka is going to try and push that before he brush Stalkers down, but the second Temple phase active, the experience is even, but no team gained much of an advantage at all in the bottom lane here when it comes to structure damage.
Yeah, nothing major. Muradin's on the point first. Dahaka and Arthas both getting the soak. Arthas on the rotate now, and you should expect to see the Brush Stalker soon after from Dahaka to reclaim some presence here in the bottom, but they haven't done it quite yet. They're just giving up tons of free damage here. There it is.
Now oh my goodness,
Good
special
detainment.
T. I don't think he's making it out of here.
That detainment strike was still really good. Almost got the save. A lot of damage applied to pretty much the entire team of LFM as a result. But imported support do still have control. Even after that hero loss for a brief moment, Crux is going to have to back away. Look for that Dwarf Toss. Oh, the Howling Blast. Perfectly predicted. Ignition gets blown up.
They're not done yet. Crux Dwarf Tossing basically out into his death. Experience advantage now in favor of LFM. They'll start to open things up. They can easily push in, clear that camp. They have level 10, so they can do quite a bit right now. And I wouldn't be surprised if they start boss, and that looks exactly like what they're doing. They have 10 tier advantage. They see specialty at the top, and so power play being made. This will be sniffed out, but level 10.
Specialty.
Without level 10, I don't think this is possible to defend.
Yeah, he started rotating a Zarya and realized, yeah, we're not going to have our heroics. Boss gets picked up. Top lane is going to get some damage done with that big wave of minions piling up. Boss is going to take out the bottom fort. They're looking to end mid fort. And suddenly LFM are really evening things up.
Yep, that good rotation from Dahaka. You know, you get value top lane, you rotate bottom with the Brush Stalker, and you're able to secure that. Graded is going to be able to walk away from that. Then Dahaka went right back to the top. So it's kind of an interesting approach. The global power of Dahaka continues to reign supreme. And if you look at it, they've now taken mid fort, bottom fort barely standing, at least for the moment. And top fort took damage, all from Hecarim J-Play. And his team, of course, but...
Yeah, yeah. So Molten Core, good effectiveness there in the bottom lane. But things will normalize. Structurally, the game's about identical, more or less. We do see the power spike potential with that Sulfurous Smash for the blow-up. We are seeing Strafe instead of Rain of Vengeance for the first time tonight, at least, with the Vala builds. And that's interesting.
We're going to have to see a lot of raw Sulfurous Smashes because their really only hard CC is going to be Muradin, as Vala went strafe, so no follow-up on that for Rain of Vengeance to make a stationary target. And when you think about Lucio, he doesn't have a cleanse, so if you were to draft a little bit more CC or go into a little bit more CC, you might get more value, but Ragnaros in some trouble.
He's on the wrong side of this fight, and he will end up going down. Crux gets an Expulsion Stone to help him out. The Detainment Strike actually helping pick up that kill on Lucio before Sound Barrier can get cast. Big play there from the Aware, and that evens things up 1-for-1 in the kills in that fight as the Shrines are now active.
Shrines are active. Channels starting so far in the middle. Crux rotated to the bottom. Ragnar's going to be back up. Ishbu, you're going to see a little bit of split, a little bit of indecision. It looks like they're going to rotate down. You use Crux and Muradin because he can basically hop over in this bush here, uses Dwarf Tusk now that we see that the root missed, and he's the easiest one to get out. So stealing a few shots there, nicely played.
Yeah. Also bought, some time for those shots to not be picked up. If we look at the progress, mid temple just about done. Bottom temple still has a lot of ammunition left in it, so they can look for a potential rotation if they please. We can see that the bottom 4 will live on. Top 4 now being pummeled at by the final remaining shots here. Not going to try to collapse in. Oh, they're looking at it. They're looking at it. Li Ming is here. Arthas is alone. Ish should die very quickly, but not before getting the last few shots, which does get the last 4.
And they'll also get the last 4 in return by just pushing in here with a full 5-man. Easily done. The rest of the team soaking elsewhere, so a slight experience advantage again in favor of LFM, but things normalizing a little bit here mid-game, and nothing that they can really do. If they wanted to try and invade a camp, they could have probably done that now, but Arthas, short time, just going to have to play it a little bit more normal for the time being.
Well, both of the teams going to get their bruiser camps. Very even game so far. Some things to look at. You can just see the CC time. I mean, Arthas, he's literally always slowing. That's just going to be a lot of utility in his kit, so that stat. But considering Valera is just getting those little micro stuns from stealth, that's added up quite a bit this game. Good bit in her kit. Ish!
Stuck in by the expulsion zone, and you can see the shields are there. The Sulfuris smash, not able to secure the kill just yet. Ishbu making good use of his army. Crystal Aegis has been used on the other side. Not able to get any follow-up. Hecarim trying to zone out for his team. He'll heal up with that adaptation. That could have been a lot worse for either of those teams.
Sound Baron, man. Strong ability. Couldn't believe how invincible Arthas looked between Army, Lucio. He just, I thought he was dead for sure.
Well, boss 15 seconds away. Possible invade on that camp. I think they realize no team willing to push too hard, and what they need to do right now, if you're imported support, you have to soak. Not having anybody top, I think, might be a little bit of a mistake. They're going to try and force the fight before 16. They realize they don't have 16 tier advantage, so you might as well try and take a fight now. They're going to try and do just that unsuccessfully. They do steal a camp, which gives a little bit of experience, but not enough to make up that gap on this single temple phase.
Expulsion zone down for 30, not a huge problem for them, but the same for adaptation. I don't know what it is with the last heroic on the screen. I don't know if yours keep getting stopped at point one as well. Yeah, it's always the 10th player. Probably an easy to remedy bug. Yeah, Dahaka is going to be brush talking away from this. Detainment strike thrown in the right location. Be aware, expecting him to be there, but he is out of there. This is going to be mid-keep wall, and 16 will be picked up even when they were at a deficit. So, good play.
Yeah, the invade down there warranted them a little bit of time. The root going in on the Zarya, though, that's a problem. Expulsion zone not going to be enough to save her just yet. The knockback specialty somehow staying alive, but Ishbu on the backside, detainment strike into the wall. He's using that army to stay alive. So pure smash, absolutely near nobody. As Crystal Aegis has been used, Jake.
And, you know, I spoke a little bit too soon at the start of this fight. I said 16 is going to be picked up. I thought they were going to get that next tower. They did not. They just now got 16. Specialty way too deep right now. He's going to die. He's going to lose Ariel with him. Ish is actually going to end up living through all of this, making a 4 for nothing. That's a boss. That's a shrine. That's maybe 2 keeps.
That Sulfuris smashes something. I'm not real sure what went wrong there, but it missed its mark.
A little bit.
Ariel re-engaged there too with Zarya trying to get a detainment strike missed and just got collapsed upon, and that was a bit of a mistake. Sometimes you just got to cut your losses. It wouldn't have saved them from getting boss, but it would save them experience and precious time, as you are the last one to revive now for your team. But finding yourselves 2 levels down, LFM starting to open up just after that team fight, but still, I'd say it's still somewhat even. Like, this game is not out of reach for imported support, and they recognize the talent tier advantages, so they'll probably try and force another invade or another fight before 20.
Yeah, after all that was said and done, I actually kind of thought they'd get a little bit more, but they did go back, take the safe play to hearth up, refill their mana bars, and they're just kind of taking the safe poke route here in the mid. So Don't even get the single keep since they wanted to make sure they were at full power. Still have that 2-level lead, you know, slow and steady. Just going to back up, grab their bruiser camp. You can look at the level 16 talents that were picked up here. Giant Scorcher was grabbed. Cleansing Shield's going to be super useful for them.
Man, outside of experience, they didn't get a lot from that. They weren't able to force the issue middle. They did not steal the camp at the top right. And here's the invade we talked about, is that Imported Support recognizes that they will have to do something to turn the tides. The good news for them is that camp is pushing at the bottom left. They could almost push this in, try and take a tower or two, as we see Ignition posturing up. They always have the fallback option of Ragnarok. So you can, if you start to fall back to play defense, you can always go molten core and hop in the broken down fort, but right now they were able to take the entire keep wall. This is actually very well played by Imported Support. They will have to respond to the bottom lane though. That's going to be 2 siege camp pushing.
Yeah, you got Dahaka just marching that down to the best of his ability as the temples will become active in 5 seconds from now. I like the scouting from Draded, just kind of keeping eyes on. Brushstalker was, or actually no, he hearthed back to base to just make sure he's out of there and then can relocate with the Brushstalker as he sees fit, when he sees necessary.
Do you like the decision to at least rotate bottom? With that boss that was picked up, you don't have to worry about the split pressure and threat. This is actually one of those moments where it can be pretty dangerous for a lot of teams that don't have a global. But because it's already picked up, this is pretty much going to be a trade, but 20-17. I'm actually surprised. There we go. Arthas finally starting to make his way down. They're going to put Dahaka on top of the temple, rotate Arthas down, and I think that they recognize that. They're going to give up a lot here. But the threat of Dahaka brush-stalkering down in the middle of that temple phase is super scary.
No one on the side of Imported have shown, which is why you see this very safe position. And they're even going to just use Molten Core to eat these shots from the rest of that to make sure the top keep's not too vulnerable. However, there's still no 20. All they can do is soak. It's going to be... is this enough damage to kill a keep? I think so. It's going to be close.
Yeah. So you could see them posturing up. They think, all right, we'll just push that top lane clear out of wave and do that. But then they realize, like, wait a minute, if we push too far, they'll just walk in bottom lane and try and take this keep down, which it seems like it should fall from temple shots anyways. So better safe than sorry, I think, on the side of Imported Support. But that is going to be our first keep of the game, going down 16.5 minutes in.
We do have Cold Blood for Valera. A little bit more burst potential with that. Dahaka's flexing that global up in the top. We got the bonus track here for Lucio. So, yeah, this is definitely a window in which you don't want to fight underneath it. Even Tal Rasha, that's just so much additional DPS for the Li Ming.
Lucio at 20, so good.
It really is. Especially just trying to scout out this giant camp. They know that's the next likely position to be, and they're just trying to get the party bush, trying to catch someone out of position. Not getting lucky yet. Traded.
Ooh, are they going to scout Valera? They see her.
They see her.
They know they don't want to engage, though. I said see her, and my phone thought I was saying something else.
Okay. Army use their behind all of this. Good boop onto Krux. Howling Blast should be able to connect here. Ish, well, gonna end up using it onto Volek. Good cleansing shield to get Ignition away from that. Dahaka all the while still up top. This is very vulnerable keep, all things considered.
Yeah, they can't overcommit there. You know, they definitely need to defend top, and they need to send somebody there right now. I was going to say Dahaka will push that in. But they can't afford to give up middle. But now you desperately need 20. And I think once they hit 20, they're going to look to engage. By being down 1 keep, if the top temple is the first one, actually the boss is up. You now have a very difficult decision if you are Imported Support. You can force the boss. With Expulsion Zone, you have really good control over it. And it looks like LFM is going to force this. This is actually really surprising. I guess they think pre-20 they're fine. But Expulsion Zone, I'm surprised that they're even making a play on this. All they have to do is rotate, start playing temples, put Dahaka top, and then just force rotations. You can do this on your own later. They just gave up a lot, I think.
They did. They gave up that level 20 window as well. So level 20 now being picked up here. Even the odds in the grand scheme of things, yes, they have to clean up bottom, so they're going to take a lot of damage, likely lose this top keep, maybe even the mid keep as well. And they're still lingering around the boss. This is rough.
If you're LFM, yeah, they're coming off that. They realize they have to fight. All their keeps are down. You're going to start taking core damage off this. And they're already going to take core damage. So, I don't know. Indecision, I think, is biting them in the rear right now.
And yeah, that core is already down to 76 Hecarim. Is going to use that Brush Stalker. Now they have their presence here. Good Stormbolt onto Derated, but again, it's not enough. Even these few shots being collected. Core is at half health, already using Adaptation Strength being used in a response. Expulsion Zone might be enough to get Hecarim, but that Sound Barrier is going to top him off fairly well. Down he goes. Sulfur Smash also has been spent behind this, but Valera backing up to the core.
They're just going to walk up to the core and in the game. Indecision is now going to cost them the series. LFM, they will be moving on to the... wait a minute.
That's it.
Yeah, they're moving on to the finals, Jake. That was just, the power of globals, I think, ended up winning out there, and then a little bit of indecision cost